Hi there guys, the other day I started a dagger on YouTube. There's a celebration of arriving at 50,000 subscribers. Well, we got to this stage and basically started off with a big lump of flint that had a lot of thermal flaws in it, and we took one blank out of the middle between the thermal flaws, which is what happened when the Ice Age met the piece of flint. The actual work all takes place on the side of the leg, so we strap a leg pad onto that to keep that out of trouble, and so off we'll go. On the edge of the flint, what we'll do is we'll make it strong by abrading it like that, and then with a piece of deer antler, this section here is called the coronet, which was the bit that fixed it to the deer's head. That's the bit which we're going to do the work with. So that was handy. That actually went across and took that right off. Now the current situation is this side is very flat and this side is very oval. So what we really need to do is we need to bring this edge upwards towards this surface and cast flakes out and try and flatten that all off. If you ever hear the sound of the flint making high-pitched noises, that means that I'm doing something which is stressing the flint out. And it's better, if you can, not to do that too much, otherwise it will snap it in half. Taking confidence to it is your best ally, really. If you don't hit it hard, then it'll just make it ring like a bell, and that in itself will snap it. Always love a bit of slow-mo in the action. Sometimes I'm literally just pushing short flakes off, just to regain a bit of curvature to the surfaces. So it's coming along, not so many problems now. This area here can be a bit tricky because of the angle that is sitting there. It's quite hollow. But this has got now sort of a nice soft bevel all the way across, and pretty much on both sides. So it's about repetition really. So things are starting to move into a slightly different territory here right now. I'll tell you, normally it's quiet around here. Got locked down, right? Got cars passing every 5 minutes. Never known so much damn traffic. But listen, right? You can actually hear that this is starting to change now, and that's when things get really tricky. But we'll just carry on pushing on and keep the mind in what I would like to describe as an ultra confident space. You know, put confidence in here, we'll come away with a dagger. Anything other than that is not going to work out. There's a little bit here which is just high, so we'll try and swipe that off first. Yeah, that went alright. Not a huge flake, but enough. So now, when I'm actually holding the dagger, I'm gripping it quite tightly, just to reduce shock waves getting out from the environment that I'm trying to put them in. Which is nice. So the flake pattern is working out all right. I'm going to do a little bit of work up around this handle area now, just to keep that all in line with everything else. I could do with a bit of a super flake here. But, it's not massively important, but because it is kind of part of the handle, but it does bulk up quite considerably there. That one went out all right. So you can probably tell that I'm holding the actual flint flatter when I do the handle area than I was when I was doing the flakes through the blade. That's just so we keep some substance in the actual handle. And the fact that it's flat on the end, well, it can stay like that as far as I'm concerned. It could be quite a nice detailed finish. I'm going to push another hard flake right here. So this technique is called pressure flaking. As you can see, it's a bit more detailed. So I'm setting up that little bit of platform area that was being a bit stubborn with the pressure flaker. You know, put your mind back if you can, let's say 3,500 years ago, and place this skill in the hands of that person rather than it being a modern mind, and you can kind of see where they're coming from. And what is beginning to happen is the light, if I held this up to the light, which I will do in a little while, is beginning to come through it now. And as the light travels through the black, what you end up with is you end up with a kind of an orange glow, almost flame-like. I'll just take these couple of flakes off and I'll show you what I mean. As you can see, what I'm talking about is how the colour is transmitted through the actual stone itself. That's one of the things that I really love about it. I know that a lot of you are quite new to my channel, and some of you have been following me for years, but so just halfway through this really, I might as well say, you know, don't forget to hit the like or the follow or the subscribe button, and then you'll be on the journey. And it's worth looking back as well, because I've been putting quite a lot of interesting stuff out that hopefully you'd enjoy watching too, rather than what I'm going to always be putting out in the future. So let's crack on with this dagger. Well, I think we've got to a stage with that now where we can actually think about what I was mentioning earlier, and let's get some silver birch, put it on the handle and pitch over the top of it. So we have some nice silver birch bark, and as you can see, the nature of the bark, it wants to do a certain thing, it wants to roll up inside out. So that's how I'm going to play with this. I'm looking at the actual dagger itself. I only want that to come to about here. It's about 4 inches. Yeah, that'll be alright. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to heat it up so it tightens up, and then once it's tightened up on the actual body of the knife, then we'll dunk it in the pine pitch, and that'll be all job singing and dancing. Just take the dagger out, pop that in my mouth just to keep the shape. So that would have already gone off because it's gone onto a cold blade. It's important that I don't heat the flint up too much because it can go bang. We'll just get that resin remelted on there and slide that back in. So that's going to be glued on solid there now. I'm kind of using this as a not so much to hold it together, but as a colourant. So actually what that means is I've got to get most of it back off, and that could be a bit tricky because we don't want to actually burn the bark. So the whole thing is covered now, so let's get this pot out of the way. So this is where we got to so far. That's the silver birch now put on there. And just for extra security, with some stinging nettles that I've dried and had for quite some time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some light cordage. I'm going to bind a patterned cordage onto it, lock that up, and that'll all be done. So let's get spinning up this nettle. Probably need about 1.5 meters of this. Which will constitute to about 2 stinging nettles in total. Basically, every time you want to extend it, what you do is you just add another bit in. We call that laying in. And all this spinning, it helps lock it together. Then at the end, what we do is we just come and cut off all these little overlays like that. And I think that what that's going to do is, you can see the colour of the cordage. That's going to constitute to looking really nice against the actual silver birch and the pine pitch. That's the plan anyway. So about 10 minutes of twiddling. What we've got 1 meter of the 1 meter of the stinging nettle cordage, and it's time to bind it up. So we've gone around 3 complete times, and then we're going to begin to come down. Going to go all the way to the base, then go round that a few times. Twice, probably match it up so we've done the same at the bottom as we have at the top, giving it a little bit of symmetry. Coming over and getting them square, so getting the crosses to match over in the middles. Literally, that is going to finalise in there, and then we need to lock it off with a little bit of glue, which needs to heat up a little bit. And then I'm just going to gently try and coat that in the pitch and just settle it all down, and then it should look pretty good.